From the High Definition Production Center of Troy University's Broadcast and Digital Network and Troy campuses around the world, this is TrojanVision Weekly.
Hello and welcome to TrojanVision Weekly. We're glad you joined us for this look at what's happening in and around Troy University. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. Well, there was some big news in Trojan athletics as the Trojan football team broke into the national rankings for the first time in school history, snagging 25th in the AP Top 25. But that wasn't the only big news. It was announced that Veterans Memorial Stadium is getting a new addition. Ryan Renfro has the details.
In my introductory press conference 15 months ago, I talked a lot about where I thought we could go.
Jeremy McLean says there are no barriers for success except for those we create.
Today is an example of that. I think, again, from a momentum perspective and for trying to fulfill a vision, this is a great step in the right direction for us as a program.
What is currently a chain-linked fence located in the north end zone of Veterans Memorial Stadium will soon become a 67,000 square foot football facility.
We hope that this north end zone will do exactly what it's designed to do, and first and foremost be for our student athletes.
And for its student athletes, the new facility will provide a new locker room, a strength and conditioning center complemented by a training facility, and several other features.
Anytime you go through growth, and we're growing right now, we're growing as a football team, we're growing as a university, we're growing as an athletic department, we're growing. And you got to do things that's necessary to continue to stay at that level. And if you don't do that, you get passed by. I think it's about fulfilling a vision, moving forward as a program, and seeing that success happen.
The new facility will add 420 new club seats, a new concourse area with tents for in-game tailgating, and a brand new 90-foot video board to complement the one already in place in the stadium. Ryan Renfro, Troy, TrojanVision News.
And the groundbreaking for the long-awaited North End Zone project took place Saturday morning before the Appalachian State football game. Jamal Kennedy has the details.
Saturday, Chancellor Jack Hawkins Jr., along with Athletic Director Jeremy McLean and members of the Board of Trustees, broke ground on what is now becoming the North End Zone project at Veterans Memorial Stadium.
Coach Brown said we're rebuilding the wall, and this is an important part of rebuilding that wall to get us to a point where we're competitive every year in our conference and across the nation.
The $24 million project will include a 35 by 90-foot video board and create 400 more seats for fans, but as far as the athletes, it will house a new strength and conditioning area, locker room, and training facility.
I think it'll be a beautiful addition. It'll be state-of-the-art. It'll give our athletes what they need to prepare for and to compete at a very high level.
But what does Chancellor Hawkins think this will bring to the university in general?
I think it's the front door to the university. So many people follow athletics. I think it's an important part of the collegiate experience. That's why we elevated from Division II to Division I. I think it'll be a credit to this state and to the Sun Belt Conference and to football generally. So we really are excited about what this means.
Jamal Kennedy, Troy, TrojanVision News.
A little-known period from the life of Helen Keller was brought to life in the form of dance Monday morning. It was a part of Troy University's annual Helen Keller Lecture. Jamal Kennedy gives us a look at the performance.
And it is not about what we do, it's about who we are.
Monday morning in Claudia Crosby Theater, Helen Keller unveiled a dance play put on by the Performing Arts. It was performed as a part of the Helen Keller Lecture that the university has now put on for 22 years.
Too often we forget those people who are least among us in terms of numbers, because in the aggregate the deaf and the blind and those who are both deaf and blind are small in number, but it's a powerful, powerful group of people who need the best that we can provide.
The emphasis from the dance was to bring the audience into the personal life of Helen Keller and her relationship with Peter Fagan, and into her heart, which deepened her life's advocacy towards human rights.
We do our best work when we do it from the heart. And so what we've seen today really does carry us to another level. Serving is not a job. Serving is an opportunity.
In relation to the world and people with disabilities, Dr. Hawkins, someone who worked with the disabled at the Alabama School for the Deaf and Blind, hoped the audience walked away from the performance focusing less on what the disabled could not do.
We have to focus not on the dis in disability, we have to focus on the ability. All of us have strengths. but likewise, all of us have weaknesses. And I think the disabled often are shut out before they have an opportunity to really demonstrate their ability.
Jamal Kennedy, Troy, TrojanVision News.
For the past 3 years, one Troy University alumna has been writing and directing and producing her own documentary. And this week, Troy students got a chance to see the finished product. Ryan Renfro has the details.
When I moved here, I was the only biracial student in the whole school.
Sarah Gamble spent her childhood in Hawaii, and when she turned 14 years old, she and her family moved to Troy.
You know, I kind of went through times in my life where I knew that I was different. I knew I didn't fit in, but I never really allowed myself to think about that.
Though she may not have given it too much thought at first, Gamble says it was in recent years that she began to see how being biracial has affected her life.
It had dictated a lot of things that I'd done in my life, and I wanted to figure out why that was. And so I went on a journey to figure out exactly what being biracial in the South means today.
And that journey led to her documentary, Armor, a film that examines what life is like for biracials here in the South. And after its screening this week in the Trojan Center Theater, Gamble says that everyone has their own layer of armor, or as she puts it, we all have our own layer of protection.
We never really let people see who we really are, even our own family members, don't really know what lies beneath. I mean, my parents had no idea that I was 15, 16 years old crying at night alone because I was so I just didn't fit in, I was so ostracized.
Two participants share how their involvement with the film has impacted their journey.
It felt like an outlet to express myself and to let other people of my race or my mixed race know that other people are in this too.
Getting my thoughts and my feelings out there, that was like my main goal with this. And I got to meet some pretty amazing people too, so that was a plus.
Gamble says she hopes Armor will be the first of many films to come. Ryan Renfro, Troy, TrojanVision News.
We'll take a short break, but when we return, we'll see a couple of ways that Troy University was helping veterans. Stay tuned, we'll be right back.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it. While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed ours. Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
The warrior spirit, it's in there. Always has been. Now let it out and take the world by fire. Train well and learn what it means to be a Troy Trojan. Walk with confidence, conquer, claim territory, and climb ladders. Know that you have the power to stand alone, but the comfort of knowing that you'll never have to. Discover your inner warrior. Find it at troy.edu/spirit.
Now back to Troy TrojanVision News Weekly.
Veterans and families brought their inner artists to the canvas in this month's Veterans Voices exhibition at the Rosa Parks Museum. Ryan Renfro has more from our Montgomery News Bureau.
We also want to thank Maxwell Everett.
Veterans Voices is a collaborative art project held in the Rosa Parks Museum, a project that showcases art from local veterans and is aimed at thanking veterans for their service.
We really wanted to highlight veterans in this, and also what Rosa Parks did back in the 1950s was a form of patriotism as well.
Burkhart says volunteers for Veterans Voices didn't have to be trained artists to participate.
The only requirement was that they were a veteran or they knew someone who was a veteran, and in some way could either do a work in honor of that veteran or in memory of them.
I'm here standing inside the Veterans Voices exhibition, and if you look here to my right, you'll see a piece titled Operation Red Wing from Montgomery resident and veteran Artigas Felder. Now looking at this piece, you'll see 8 bullet holes spread across the entire piece. Now each bullet hole represents the 8 Navy SEALs and the 8 Night Stalkers who were sent out to look for Marcus Luttrell after Operation Red Wing. And these men died in their search for Luttrell when a rocket-propelled grenade brought down their helicopter. But through the artwork in Veterans Voices, their memory lives on.
He knew what he was doing. He was very creative with it. He really wanted to show something on there and tell a story on his canvas.
One Montgomery artist who helped the volunteers with their work explains how art is therapeutic.
You're focusing right there at that moment, wanting the brushstroke or the nail or the material to be what you feel.
Burkhart says the Rosa Parks Museum is a safe space, a space she believes locals can come to for anything. In Montgomery, Ryan Renfro, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Last Friday was Veterans Day, and Troy students had the chance to help out some student veterans by stepping into their boots for the afternoon. Antonia Reese has the story.
Veterans Day marks a special day here on Troy University's campus. The day is commemorated by an annual ruckathon hosted by the organization Troy for Troops. During our ruckathon, participants get a chance to step in the shoes of those soldiers who have served before them as well who are serving now. They wear these backpacks, which are called rucks.
And what we're doing is having teams of 5 come out, and they're going to ruck with a ruck that is about 27 to 30 pounds. And for those who don't know what a ruck is, it's a much larger backpack, typically worn by our military members who carry all of their equipment. Just to kind of get a taste of what walking in their shoes is like. All of the money will be going to the Troy for Troops Foundational Scholarship, which helps our veterans who need assistance going to school.
Ruckathon founder Parley Johnson gives the significance behind his annual event.
Me and a few veterans were in the Troy for Troops Center. We just started up our SVA, Student Veterans of America, and our Salute National Veterans Honor Society. And we wanted to come up with an event on campus where students who have no military experience, don't know too much about the military, could just for a few hours get some military experience and just kind of come out and meet some of their fellow student veterans that they may not have even known were in the military.
One participant, Alex Detmar, explains why he participated in this year's annual ruckathon and what pushed him to run 8 miles.
Last semester I did this for the first time and it was a pretty good experience, but this semester I wanted to come out and show more support and work harder, have a lot of motivation to do this. My grandfather was in the Air Force, so that gives me a lot of motivation to come out here and support every veteran that has served.
The overall winners all came from the Army ROTC program. However, Air Force ROTC finished not too far behind. Antonio Reese, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Homecoming week is a fun time for Troy students. However, among all the activities, there was a fundraising element that ended up helping out students and teachers at the local Head Start. Sarah Jones explains.
On Tuesday, the Homecoming Committee presented Head Start, a local preschool in Troy, with a $1,500 check. This money was raised by students at Troy University during Homecoming week in October. Head Start Director Harriet Bernarda McFarland was astounded by the support from the university.
I never knew that there was any group or organization at Troy University that cared so much about the children and families in Troy and Pike County. So I'm very excited about that. And I want to thank the SGA and the Homecoming Committee for their generous donation.
Though the staff at Head Start does not have an exact plan for how the money will be used, McFarland says that ultimately the children's learning experience and safety comes first.
Anytime we receive in-kind donations, we look for ways to enhance the program that we currently have. So it could go towards playground equipment, it may go to another computer, may go to a camera system so the children are safe at all times and we'll be able to monitor them.
SGA Vice President of Campus Activities, Sam Moody, helped organize this fundraiser and wanted the children in the community to benefit.
We wanted it to ultimately come down to serving Pike County, and one major need that Pike County has is its children. And we found this as a great way to give back to the community. It was a relationship that our president, Olivia Melton, had already established her freshman year through Backpack for Kids. So it was just a really easy way to kind of give back to Pike County, and one that we had already kind of established.
Head Start is located behind Sorority Hill. Sarah Jones, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Every 2 weeks, Troy University students get to spend their lunch break talking about topics making headlines. Justin Walker shows us what was being served up at the last Talk of Troy of the semester.
Talk of Troy's last session of the fall semester was held Wednesday in the library on the campus of Troy University. The event, put on every other week by the Office of Civic Engagement, allows students to share their thoughts on various issues going on in the world.
We meet every other week here in the library, and we have student-led discussions on things that either clubs or organizations or individuals are working on or are passionate about here on campus and then in the community, different issues, different activities, things of that nature.
The topic for this week was on diversity. Speaker Michaela Chenault asked a group of students what diversity meant to them. A short movie was shown, and the students chimed in with their views on how diversity has changed in the United States.
So today we introduced a video on diversity. They talked about sort of how diversity has become sort of a buzzword that's gotten a bit washed out. The meaning of diversity over the years has really changed. We talked about the issues surrounding that and the different ways that we can sort of prevent the fake diversity from happening and really shift to a positive light.
And Chenault, who is originally from Oregon, elaborated more on the diverse changes she's seen since moving to the opposite side of the country.
Shifting to Oregon to Alabama, you see sort of the same things happening between the whites and Hispanics up there as you do the whites and the blacks down here. It's not so much as they're sort of like blending and hanging out together. You see that a little bit, but it's just a very separate way the races hang out, if that makes sense.
Talk of Troy hopes to continue meeting in the spring. Justin Walker, Troy, TrojanVision News.
We're going to take another quick break, but when we come back, we'll hear about some of the new additions to the plans for the new recreation center for students. We'll hear about them after the break, so stay with us.
Did you know kids who play outdoors have healthier lungs?
Totally. I did. Did you know that boys that play with dolls make better husbands?
My son has lots of dolls.
But did you know terry cloth diapers breathe better?
I did.
It's totally true.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know that strollers have the right of way on the sidewalk?
Yes.
Yep, I did. Did you guys
Did you know that kids who eat breakfast have higher GPAs?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. That's actually what I was going to say.
Did you know babies should never touch silver? It's really bad for them.
I knew that.
Did you guys know that statistically friendly kids have more friends?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's obvious.
Did you know most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected.
I'm putting that on my blog.
I just put it in mine.
Now back to Troy TrojanVision News Weekly.
A new recreation center for students has been in the works for quite some time. And even though the project hasn't officially gotten off the ground, the Student Government Association is already talking about some changes to the facility. Kyle Shook explains.
On Tuesday, Troy University's Student Government Association discussed the potential of adding a food court to the new rec center being built in place of Sartain. Rec Center Committee member and SGA Chairwoman Sierra Clark hints at some of the plans.
The type of food court that we're leaning towards is one that doesn't require a hood, so one that doesn't fry food because it's less expensive. We want the bulk of that feed that the students are paying to go towards the rec center. And we already have 2 different food areas that do have an area where we can have fried food or something of that nature.
And while many of the options are still being considered, Clark says that there's one aspect of the food court that has been campaigned for since the beginning.
I think it's always been in the plan to have at least a smoothie place. Since the beginning when we had that open forum where any student could come and talk about what they wanted in the rec center, smoothies have always been at the top of a Troy University student wish list. So we would love to grant that. We're hopefully going to get to be able to grant that. So a smoothie place of some kind has always been in the works.
Clark said the committee is also looking into allowing students to use flex points at the food court. Kyle Shook, Troy, TrojanVision News.
And the youngest members of Troy Student Government Association welcomed some even younger students to campus for some lessons in leadership. Janae Jordan has the details.
On Thursday, Freshman Forum held a leadership conference in the Trojan Center ballrooms to teach high school students about certain leadership skills.
We hope for the students to gain out of this program is to basically just get to know a whole bunch of people and get to network a little bit with other high school students, as well as learn more about the theme. So the theme this year was Journey to the Top, all about how to go through life and how to make the best out of situations, whether they be positive and successful or whether they be sort of negative and turning them into success stories.
High school students came from all over the Southeast to the Troy campus to participate in activities that build skills from public speaking to marketing and establish some networking connections for the future.
The main goals of Freshman Forum's Leadership Conference is to gain connections. These students are coming from across the state and are coming here, and even though they might not end up going to Troy, they'll see these people that they're talking to and conversing with throughout their life, and they'll meet people and make those those connections that will help them in the future.
One student representing Bibb County High School shares what she learned from the conference.
I've gained, I guess, interaction skills. My group leaders were really good about, they gave us a couple different games to like get to know each other and break the ice. And you know, we all kind of like came together really quick, and that's never really happened before. They did a really good job of that, and it just kind of helps like opening it up and like realizing like people are really nice if you give them the chance to be.
Janae Jordan, Troy, TrojanVision News.
A Troy University student service organization showed off some of their fundraising efforts Wednesday afternoon. Madison Neal has the story.
Circle K International is a service foundation, and this month their focus is to help the March of Dimes.
The March of Dimes is a foundation that's set out to help mothers and their children go through those difficult times of premature childbirth. And today we're doing a balloon release in honor of those kids who may have not made it through premature, and also at the same time raising money for the future. It's very special to some people in our club, and then I know some people personally that have dealt with premature births and how scary it may be.
The balloon release gave students the opportunity to give back to a greater cause, the March of Dimes.
I think it's important for us as college students to give back, because it's a way that maybe if it's 50 cents or $1, which I know we're poor college students, so it's just a little bit of money where you're helping a premature baby to get better.
And anyone who missed the balloon release still has the chance to donate through upcoming Circle K events.
Well, in December 5th, we're doing a Spirit Night at Chick-fil-A as well for March of Dimes. And then next semester, we're also doing a big fundraiser for the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. We're having a kickball tournament for any organizations or any group that wants to get together and do a kickball tournament here in Troy. Then I hope everybody would donate and see us at our Spirit Night on December 5th.
Madison Neal, Troy, TrojanVision News.
It's time for our last break. When we return, we'll see how some tiny books are making a big name for themselves on campus. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
Why is my son having trouble in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with my son over his homework.
Home, walk, restaurant. Need a review?
No. He's smart, but his mind wanders.
7 wonders of the world.
Why don't you understand me?
I do. I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Redirecting to understood.org.
Join parents and experts at understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues to help your child thrive.
Now back to Troy TrojanVision News Weekly.
One of an English department's primary concerns is books. The stuff they teach comes from them, and a lot of them are pretty long and mighty big. However, right now, there's a display of books in Smith Hall that, even though they contain some big-time works of literature, they come in a tiny form. Lindsay Smith explains.
Books are meant to be on display in the library, right? Well, think again. The English department is currently home to a display of miniature books, and what started as English professor Dr. Ben Robertson's personal interest has led to the miniature books making their way to Troy's campus.
I kind of started collecting books a few years ago, and part of the process is I wanted to know where I could find more miniature books. So I started looking around online, and I came across the Miniature Book Society website, and they had the traveling exhibit listed there. And I thought, hey, wouldn't it be really cool if we could have that here at Troy? And so I just emailed them, and they said, sure.
Robertson says the display on campus is here courtesy of the Miniature Book Society.
Well, it's this organization of people who are just interested in making and collecting miniature books. So they gather books from all over the world, and it's just for fun.
Some of these books are only 2 inches wide and 3 inches tall. Some can only be seen through a magnifier, and Robertson says some students may not even believe that these books are real. But he encourages those students to come and see the books for themselves.
It's just really, really cool to have these little tiny, they look like they wouldn't even be real, but they really are books.
The miniature books will be on display in Smith Hall until mid-December. Lindsay Smith, Troy, TrojanVision News.
The Claudia Crosby Theater was filled with music from Troy's Symphony Band Sunday afternoon. Nathaniel Rodriguez has the sights and sounds from Sunday's concert.
The Troy University Symphony Band performed their second concert of the semester Sunday afternoon in Claudia Crosby Theater. The concert featured works from the past 100 years, ranging from Premier Rhapsody by Claude Debussy to Rift and Wed, a work taken from the 5th Elder Scrolls game, Skyrim. In addition to these pieces was the world premiere of Lightning Hammer, a piece composed by Tyler Arcari, a Troy alumnus.
Well, Tyler is like I said, is an alum of Troy University, and he was in the Sound of the South Band program. And he wrote this piece for us and offered it to us as a world premiere, and so we took it and rehearsed it and performed it.
Walker said he was pleased by the effort put in by the students.
They have a tremendous work ethic, and they are emerging and developing artists, and so they perform at that level, and they work really, really hard. And so the nice thing is that every year I kind of decide on some objectives that we need to work on, and they've been meeting that every single time.
Marissa Stanfield, the clarinet soloist featured on Premier Rhapsody, said she was particularly impressed with how the band played the Debussy piece.
There's a lot of nuances and really exposed musical things that the symphony band, I think, isn't used to, and we really pulled it together and just played so musically, and I'm so proud to have soloed with them, and I think it was a great performance.
And while the concert may be over, this is not the last performance for the Symphony Band this semester. They still have one more to go.
Well, we have our Sounds of the Season concert where we perform Christmas music along with our colleagues and friends in the College of Communication and Fine Arts, the choir, the jazz band, the dancers, theater. Everybody's going to be in that concert.
The Sounds of the Season concert is on December 1st at 8 p.m. Nathaniel Rodriguez, Troy, TrojanVision News.
Typically, when a person thinks of hypnosis, a pocket watch and people imitating barn animals comes to mind. However, Troy University's Activities Council brought in a world-renowned hypnotist and mind reader to amaze and baffle the Troy student body. Seth Hawk has the details.
You're getting very sleepy. Just kidding. But Wednesday night was no joke, as Troy's University Activities Council brought in a world-renowned hypnotist and mind reader.
We're having a hypnotist and a mind reader come to Troy University. He can tell the students specific details of their future and their past.
The audience members had no clue what to expect as Robert Channing read the minds of Troy students from simple things as to what number a student was thinking of to what type of underwear a person had on. Channing assured the audience that this was no trick, and he says that there is a science behind what he does.
What I do is I'm an entertainer, first of all. So 35% of what you just witnessed here tonight is ESP, or extrasensory perception, or I always say ESP is extra special people, which all of you are, you know what I mean? 35% is showmanship, and the rest is dumb luck. As far as the hypnosis stuff goes, as far as the hypnosis stuff that I do, it's very simple at the end. I just have them have some fun with that. But most of it's a mind reading show. It's a comedy mind reading show. It's for entertainment purposes only.
Channing has appeared on shows such as America's Got Talent and The Steve Harvey Show to show off not only his skills with ESP, but to show off a couple of other talents as well.
Oh, it's phenomenal. I mean, these people were wonderful. I actually do two types of shows. I do a speed painting show where I actually paint with on a 6-foot canvas, black canvas with glue, and then I actually paint glue and you can't see what it is. Then I throw glitter on it and it sticks to it and the image appears. So I painted Howard Stern, Steve Harvey. I just painted on Fox and Friends President Trump.
Doing away with the traditional image of a magic pocket watch swinging back and forth, he didn't command obedience or sleepiness, just that the audience enjoy themselves. Seth Hawk, Troy, TrojanVision News.
And that's what happened on the second week of November 2016. To find out what's happening throughout the week, you can tune into Troy TrojanVision News at 5, 6:30, and 10:30, Monday through Friday, or anytime by following us on Twitter at Troy TV News. Also, feel free to like our Troy TrojanVision News fan page on Facebook to see links to online content from Troy TrojanVision News. We hope you join us again next week for another edition of Troy TrojanVision Weekly. Have a good week.